Hello everybody, Simple here, and today we are back with another review for Miraculous Ladybug. This time, it is Miraculous Paris, Tales of Shadybug and Claw Noir. Is a very well-respected special that came out technically last month of 2023. So right now I'm recording this, it's December, pretty late in December I know, but it was released through everywhere earlier December, but it was released back at November, late November. And if you're wondering why it took me so long, college and other projects and Death Battle, but sidetracking there. According to the fandom, this is basically a 9 out of 10 to 10 out of 10, and it is, and I quote, the best thing that came out of Miraculous, the whole series. That's right, the whole series. It's not even the main series, it's just the whole series in general, including the movie and the special. Do I agree with this? There's an argument for it. And how? Well, why not we discuss this right now. For me personally, if you just want to know how I rank this, 9 out of 10. There is one glaring problem, and we're going through that later. As of now, I'm going to say this, I am not going to do a super deep dive into this. I'm just going to tell you what I like and what I dislike about this while showing you just a tiny bit, a little glimpse of this special. And I do recommend people to watching this because if you wanted the, like, Miraculous's best writing, it is not like perfect writing. I'm not going to say that. It is not perfect. It is not the best, but this special specifically is Miraculous's best script, close to the movie, and I would say that the movie's writing is basically one of the best in terms of being the above average script of Miraculous. It's up there, basically. The very high bar for Miraculous is above average. This one takes it a bit further beyond, because it doesn't really focus on our main characters. It focuses on quote-unquote different characters, and you'll see why if you watch other character deep dives, because these three characters in this new special basically kind of carries the whole thing, and it actually gives incentive to two of our heroes much deep dive into their own character, self-reflection. But yeah, here we go. So according to this right now, we're at 0 seconds because this is what I took. You see that Paris is on fire. That is because this is in a parallel universe where gabrielagreste is the superhero. Yes, gabrielagreste is a superhero. And guess what? First 29 seconds. One of the best things they have done is a multi-layered version, a multi-layered meaning to the Miraculous song, but the Miraculous song tells us the life of our Gabriel here, a Gabriel in a different universe and such. And the funny thing is that this has been handled in the hand-drawn style. Yes, hand-drawn comic style. That's what I'm calling it. It's similar to Spider-Man, of all things. And don't worry, the Spider-Man things have not died down yet, because the whole Spider-Man thing basically kind of comes back again for another few seconds. But the first 29 seconds, we have a lot of things to take in. I'm gonna play no sound from this because I don't want to copyright it, but I'm gonna play a little bit here. As you can see, yeah. So if you see from there, like if we go back just a tiny bit, if I can, as you can see here, and this is the only thing, this symbol represents a being that controls this Gabriel's universe, basically. And no, it's not because he killed the wife. The wife died exactly the same reasons as our Gabriel does. But the symbol right here shows the higher up, the higher being, meaning the Supreme. The Supreme is the person that rules over Gabriel's homeworld and wants to use the Miraculous that he has give it to other people, put those people under his boot, and basically make the world his own vision. Now Gabriel here, with the context clues you can see here and then later, it seems like he lost his wife, and it seems like he was going through the same steps as our Gabriel. But as you can see here when we continue on, yeah, you can see that he was actually a much more different person, and he's actually a good hero this time. And as you can see there as well from just a few seconds ago, you see Adrian, this other Adrian basically walking out. Now, he is basically doing this for the greater good, and the main reason why, as will be stated like further into the episode or the special, is that he's doing this technically for his wife and context. Never been stated in the actual special, which is a good thing, meaning that the visuals are mostly doing the heavy lifting. Nothing needs to be stated outright, which is the one thing that most people are complaining about the main series. And yeah, I'm just glad they actually do something like this. Now, Gabriel, when he's singing, is very similar in tone with the lyrics as well as the original theme song, as I stated beforehand, I think I stated beforehand. The thing is that in the visuals, not by his lyrics, but by the visuals, you can see the hardship that he actually gone through, and then basically him being a hero. And as you can see from before, he was basically working with his world's Aya and Nino, because they're still good guys, of course. And this is basically the butterfly. Now the butterfly does have a different name. It's not the Akuma. I don't remember what it is. It's kind of hard for me to pronounce it, and to be honest, I'm not so good with words, specifically some words, because this is a new word that I heard, and I think it's a reference. It's like maybe something good, opposite of Akuma maybe, but who knows. And this is basically the final shot, and I say this is a very good looking shot. I will say that. Now there's like multiple different art styles here, and I count 3. You can tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know if I think there's 3, but there's most likely 2. But after this, we get a new title card, and and this whole thing's technically a parody, right? But we do get a new title card here. There, that's your new title card. No characters on the top, nothing on the bottom, just a burning Paris with Miraculous, with the moth here. Now yes, Gabrielagreste still has the butterfly Miraculous in this world, but he is basically a good guy. And that's technically all you need to know about our new characters in the surface level. Just on the surface level, that's all you need to know. But we do get a little bit more deeper. And there's other reviews that actually showcase their character development here and shows more on what Gabriel actually stands for in this world. In the very first few seconds, basically, we see Gabriel, Aya, and Max. Max is technically dead, and he's digitalized into his own little robot that's now bigger. I don't know how, but yeah, if you want to know what Max, the super smart man, he's dead in this universe, and he's now a robot, technically speaking. It's just kind of like Donatello, honestly, like in the Special Tales season of it. Also, Nino comes down. Nino has a gun. I can't show you the gun because I don't know if it will ruin things or make this demonetized or something like that. But yeah, Nino has a gun, a big gun, like a big gun that I think you've seen something like Overwatch maybe, I don't know. But like, yeah. So throughout this, just to say simply, they found a world where our Ladybug CatNoir are, where they are, and they want, and Gabriel here, BetterFly is his name. Yeah, Gabriel in this world is called BetterFly, his superhero name. He basically wants to go there so he can call for another Ladybug CatNoir to help them with the situation. As of now, they're being chased, and Nino's also being chased as well. Now we get to the actual intro. Yes, the actual intro to the Miraculous World intro. The Miraculous World intro. Don't know why I just said that. I feel like I paused. I don't know why I said that. But with this in mind, they also put another rendition. Now, the rendition for this one specifically is similar to Miraculous New York special. However, in this one, what's very good and makes my back tingle is literally that halfway through the original score, it becomes so Spider-Man. And which era? Well, it's simple really. It's my favorite, the Sam Raimi. It has that Sam Raimi style of Spider-Man music in the middle to the end. It is just wonderful. Just the suspense, the high energy sounds, but in an orchestra way. It's just, I don't know if it's the right way to describe it, but like, how can I say? It's like the Spider-Man. This is the Spider-Man trilogy from the Raimi series, like the Raimi Spider-Man, the Raimi-verse. The music for like the introduction to those Raimi Spider-Man films it's just that. This intro is just that. It's just the Spider-Man. It's just the Raimi Spider-Man. It gives out the same, like, you know, few notes of Miraculous, and then it becomes something similar to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man score. Specifically, I think for Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man 3's Raimi score is the best, in my opinion. Of course, it's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I can be wrong. But it's very similar. It just gives me so much hope. And to be honest, yeah, it kind of carries out. And while the rest of this is not Spider-Man-like, technically in the slightest, until we get to the end, it's just really, really cool. And man, I don't know. I just really like the music here. But unfortunately, we do get to like regular music. The scores here are very similar to the ones we have in the show. And to be honest, it's kind of noticeable. I mean, expected. It's mostly expected because this is not like a movie, right? It's not a movie. It's like a special, a very high budget special. And I'll say this, the animation in this whole thing is not exactly the best I ever seen because we had the Miraculous movie to prove it. But this is basically one of the best looking specials that I have ever seen. This isn't including Shanghai because Shanghai was basically the top of animation for Miraculous specifically, and this one kind of bumps it up just a tiny bit. It's not because of the animation style, it's mostly just because of the designs of the characters and how much detail there is now on them, at least for this rendition, and that's really cool. Whew. I've been talking a lot about the intro, we never actually got to anything. But don't worry, there's still some good stuff here. But this is basically where the territory where I will have to put everything in a minimized way, because this thing has been reviewed to death so many times, and everybody says it's good. And I agree, it is good. I'm just going to tell you what I like, and I'm going to give you 3 personal things that I like about this episode, plus a bonus. I won't forget the bonus. My first thing that I like is the character designs of the alternate versions. This screenshot you see here is the alternate version of Ladybug and CatNoir. Ladybug is Shadybug and the other one is ClawNoir. Now these two have been evil in that Gabriel's world. They're evil and they're working for the Supreme, the high being person that actually has the Miraculous and gave the Miraculous to other people so they can serve under him. Everybody was in the same boat, but Gabriel's the only one that actually resisted him. Technically, he doesn't want to be that person to subjugate everybody and wants to share the power to other people and protect the others. These two don't see it that way, and the reason why is because their lives, while very similar, ClawNoir's story is very similar to Adrian's. It's just that he chose differently on his own path. While for Ladybug, or Shadybug here, her choices, as explained later, much later in this special, she's this way because she did not have any friends. Chloe still bullied her, but then one day when Supreme gave her the power of the Miraculous, she abused it. She abused it to actually have people respect her, because higher power is the only way you can get respected in that world. Now, it's not truly like the rule of that world, but that's what Ladybug finds, because Chloe, she has status. Now Chloe in her world has status, just like our Chloe. So Ladybug has to put her own status on, and that's about it. Now, through this scene, we have basically not just these two, but BetterFly, the good version of our Gabriel, good version of Monarch, fighting with Ladybug joining and CatNoir joining later. Oh yeah, I forgot one thing. So the weapon that they have, right? Shadybug still has her yo-yo, but ClawNoir not only has the staff, the bow staff, but he has nunchucks. It's cool, with spikes at the end. Well, claw spikes at the end. It's very interesting, and this means that he does know more weaponry than just the bow staff. What's next? Is he gonna pull out a sai or a katana next? Who knows? Probably not. It was maybe just gonna be like bow staff and nunchucks. But man, finally, more weaponry. I wonder if CatNoir can do it. Oh wait, I should say this. CatNoir does not have any other weapons. It's just his staff. His staff can extend. That's about it. If you're wondering about his staff cannot extend. It can turn to the nunchucks though. So yeah. Also, did I mention that ClawNoir is some sort of a masochist as well? Yeah, he's kind of a masochist. And yeah, later on, he let CatNoir's cataclysm touch him, and he's perfectly fine. Well, he has a gray cracking spot on his chest, but hey, he's fine. Okay, he's fine, and he likes it. Concerning. Of course, in order to escape, BetterFly gives CatNoir the power to actually help them escape by turning into technically Chat Blanc. Not fully Chat Blanc, but just like Chat Blanc, but with angel wings. His only ability is to fly. No other destructive capability, just to fly away super fast. And they got away, with Shadybug sustaining heavy injuries when chasing them. Now we get to my second part. The second thing I love about this is basically the realization that Shadybug has in this own world. That Shadybug basically looks around for clues onto where that little girl went. And the little girl I'm talking about is actually Alia. Yes, they trapped Alia back in Marinette's room. Marinette and Alia were having a sleepover earlier. Now, the thing is that while she was searching, and also when ClawNoir was searching, ClawNoir kind of gave up later and just played with the dolls. Ladybug here, Shadybug here. I am gonna get these names messed up because, to be honest, they look the same. They have very drastic differences in appearance, but it's very, very like normal to just call them Ladybug. I see this, I call Ladybug, But knowing this, later she just searches around the room and finds Marinette's secret diary and starts reading it. We do get back and forth on perspective between like our heroes and these two, or at least Shadybug here. When Shadybug keeps reading, she keeps, drying her eyes because she doesn't want to cry, especially in front of ClawNoir, She keeps reading Marinette's secret diary, and she's actually jealous on the life that this Marinette has. It's much more perfect than hers, and of course, this Marinette chooses the right path instead of this one. Of course, Supreme never actually came to this universe, so who knows, right? But later in the end, while she was actually having self-reflection, basically, thinking that she could actually try to be better, She saw the wish. Now this is technically one big complaint. Why would Marinette put something valuable inside her own secret diary? Well, for one thing, it's a secret diary. But I do agree, why would you just put out the biggest secret of the Miraculouses inside your own diary? Now the secret that she knows is just very simple. Use the 2 Miraculous to get a wish. And this is technically where Season 5's finale actually has a role here. So, Shadybug, well, transformed back into, you know, her original self as Marinette. And then we have regular Adrien. These two have some special connection I'll talk about later. But yeah, she does the same thing as our Gabriel did in the Season 5 finale. Except for one thing. The Supreme already knows about the wish. So he put the seal to keep away the god of creation. Basically. Gemini. Or Gimme. So basically, as I'm saying, the Supreme locked Gimme, the supreme creator of the universe, locked up. Nobody can do it, and if anybody tries to, the Kwamis get a big headache and they possibly just suffer by stimuli, basically. So yeah. So the wish has basically been cancelled and they return back to normal. And knowing that the only way to survive this is basically get the Miraculouses back. Well, not both Miraculouses of the Ladybug CatNoir, just the BetterFly Miraculous. Just the BetterFly Miraculous. They'll try to get it from BetterFly. However, we have a person coming in, and it is none other than our favorite villain, Monarch. Yeah, Monarch's here, and he's gonna help these 2 villains to get all 3 Miraculouses. I wonder how would this end up, huh? Now, my third favorite thing about the special specifically is the character moments. We have Ladybug basically feeling insecure. And the reason why she's feeling insecure is, again, as I said beforehand, this takes place right after Episode 3, Season 5. And as you can tell about the multiverse and stuff like this, as I would believe, this specific special takes place in an alternate timeline to the Season 5. This takes place right between Season 5 Episode 3 and Season 5 Episode 4. It's basically in between those 2 episodes. It could be canon, but I think it might be not canon, as in the main series, Ladybug, CatNoir never actually showed that they actually learned these lessons already. They learned these lessons halfway through the season and later on in Season 5. Late Season 5, mid to late Season 5, they learned this lesson already. But now, they kind of already, you know, learned it at this point. And I would like to consider this as maybe a separate timeline. It could have forgotten, of course, but I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to believe. But I do love the character interactions here. Ladybug still just needs a bit of pep, basically. And with a pep talk by CatNoir, her confidence does get boosted. And of course, thanks to BetterFly, basically restores the one thing that she was lacking, hope. Hope is just a big word in this whole special. And my god, there's a lot of hope to actually say. The hope symbolism here and there. But Jesus Christ. But that's basically like basic level here. The true interaction that Ladybug and CatNoir has is with their alternate selves. And this is where the rest of the fandom actually believes to be the best part of this special. And the reason why this special is basically the best that Miraculous actually ever produced. Let's talk about CatNoir and, you know, ClawNoir first. Now, their interaction is basically the last one to be resolved. But I'll explain this more because, to be honest, this is the most simplest thing. Our Adrien and the other Adrien basically have the same backstory. Father is neglectful, and of course, they lost their mother. They don't know the secrets onto why their fathers are neglectful. But the one main difference is that Adrian has friends, the other one doesn't. And that is because of the choices they made. And it is a running theme that not only for Hope, but also that you make your own choices. And if you choose a different choice, it is possible that your outcome might actually be different than the one you would have gotten. And that is basically the main reason why here. And of course, ClawNoir could still change, and thanks to Adrian here, basically giving him the talk, right? They just... How can I actually say this? Like, the main thing that came out of this is that he has a choice. He can still try to make friends. Here's the thing though, with basically ClawNoir here, as his original self as Adrian, he pushes everybody aside. He's basically just Chloe. And considering that, since he is technically just like Chloe, he just needs somebody to actually understand him, to only be that, and that's the only difference. He needs just that another person to understand where he's coming from because of his backstory, and because of his status, he just used that status to actually have things his own way. The only thing is that he doesn't have a mother and his father's neglectful. Adrian chose the other path of actually having friends because that is what he wanted the most, and he got that, surprisingly. Unfortunately, this other Adrian, didn't actually have that choice. He believed he didn't ever have that choice, and he actually shut himself in for the longest time. It might be possible that nobody actually decided to be his friend. That is also true because it doesn't seem like Nino actually gave Adrian the time for a talk. But it could be another reason why, is that his father kept him in the house for the longest time, being neglectful. Now, his father, we all know, is BetterFly, who's a superhero. And this is technically outcome. There is no good timeline for Gabriel and for Adrian to be happy. There is just that. That's the confirmation we got. But another possible reason why is, like for everything else, the Supreme chose him at a very bad time, and therefore he is evil. So yeah, but the resolution is solved at this point, and now ClawNoir is going to be good for the better. I know I'm not saying something like super deep or stuff like that, but this is the reason why it's my surface level of explaining. If you want a deeper dive into it, which I could have done, but I decided not to because it's a bit late and I'm a little tired. There's a lot of other reviews out there that could actually tell you, and there's specifically a person that I would like to actually share with you guys that I think does a good job at actually explaining the characters of this special, the mirror versions of these characters. There are some other ones that actually have done a review, but most of them are just okay at best. Like, they're just neutral. They still think it is good, it's just in a neutral sense. Like, it is the best that the series does provide. It's just that it's not exactly the best thing they have watched. And it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. Now let's go to Ladybug and Shadybug. I know I've been rambling on with that topic for a while, but let's get to them, shall we? Now their problem is technically the one that's got resolved first. Now, this whole thing is just kind of heartbreaking, to be honest, because this is a bit more of emotional stakes for basically our other Ladybug. Our other Ladybug basically had no choice. There was basically no Alia to actually support her. There's no friends, no girlfriends, not in that way, just basically supporting her emotionally. No one. Her parents, in a way, in a flashback that we see with other Adrian or ClawNoir, with that flashback with ClawNoir, we can tell that she is basically alone. Her parents basically left her, there's no one there to actually take care of her. She's the only one running the bakery. She's the only one who's making a living. She's the only one who's living alone. She's just very lonely. And thanks to Supreme, she has status now for people to basically respect her, and she can use that power. She abuses the power just for people to basically do what she wants. She never actually has that good life that Marinette has. As for Marinette, she actually reassures her that these are basically choices that she could have made. And the thing is that she does understand because she is her. And Marinette experiences the same thing. The main factor about these two is the bullying they got from Chloe. And of course, it always comes back to Chloe. But the thing is that the Supreme got to her first before Alia can. Marinette at this point was basically at her lowest point at that time. So without meeting Alia first, she just kind of gone down the wrong path, and she's comfortable with it until now. Until she realized that if she waited a bit longer, if she actually made the correct choice and maybe go for the basically better moral high ground, she would have been a much better person. Maybe a hero that people respected, have friends to support her. But there was one other thing that they were basically talking about, and this is what Shadybug was mostly jealous: a perfect life, a perfect normal life. Unfortunately, our Marinette reassures her that her life isn't perfect. Being a superhero and being a normal girl is just the balance that's always been hanging by a thread. And Marinette here tells us about her own insecurities this whole time for the past 4 up to now 5 seasons, what she was feeling this whole time. Not completely 5 seasons, of course. I mean, this is like before even like it's like barely season 5 started, and then, you know, so there's like 4 seasons maybe. But like, God, I'm saying that phrase too many times. Either way, Marinette again tells her that life for her is always been on a whim. What if somebody finds her secret? What if she fails? What if she fails being a hero? Cannot support the people she loves as a hero? She sometimes envies that, but she always does it basically because she knows she does it for the greater good. And thankfully, she shared this with her best friend Alia, and Alia was there to support her the whole way. So that was again the main thing that separated these two. The choices that they made, Supreme of course, but also the friends that they have. And since this Ladybug has no friends, she went down the wrong path. Now after all this, what do you think would happen? Yeah, it's the same thing with the other one. They just kind of resolved this and everything kind of went back to normal. With enough convincing, Shadybug made her choice. And with one act to know that she actually transformed, Shadybug uses the Shadybugs, you know. It's like the Miraculous Ladybugs. It's now the Miraculous Shadybugs. And it fixes everything. The powers is still the same. So she fixes everything. She healed herself. I'll explain that later. And she healed ClawNoir. I'll explain that later. And she fixed everything that happened, all the destruction that went down in our Paris. In our Paris, not their Paris. Just our Paris. Why not their Paris? It is possible they did that, but we never see their Paris. So we can only assume. And this is Shadybug right now. Shadybug looks almost exactly the same as our Ladybug. The thing is that her costume is a hybrid version of the normal suit and the Guardian suit. But you can also see that she does have a little Ladybug necklace around her chest area, basically. A little emblem, you would say. And her bangs are now actually a bit more bolder in terms of red, and her pigtails are now low than high. This basically shows her as a transformation, as she is now willing to change and willing to do things for the better, that she makes her own choices, nobody else does. It's a very simple lesson, but it is a true lesson that can be done in most situations. If things get very dire, most times than not, you always have the choice to basically either change it for the worse or change it for the better. And Ladybug here, Shadybug here, basically thanks to Marinette, she's willing to change for the better. And now we'll start basically fighting for the greater good in her world, because she wants her world to be just like this one. You know, without Monarch. So like, yeah, they will not have Monarch to deal with, they just have Supreme to deal with. Alright, you wanna know what the bonus thing I really like? Is the multiple animations. The multiple animations, well, 2 extra animations I would say. And of course, the realities that we saw. Now, Monarch's final attempt, since his main plan failed, he knows now that there is a multiple universe. The multiple universes, a multiverse if you will. So what he does is he gives himself the power to travel to other universes. That's right. He gave himself the power to travel through parallel universes to get the Miraculous of the Ladybug and Black Cat. I repeat again, he gives himself the power to travel through parallel universes to get the Miraculouses of the Ladybug and Black Cat. That's right, he did that. It technically is almost the same as giving himself the power of God like in the movie. It's close enough, right? But this is the one thing I really like. Now, later on, basically, as we see later, Ladybug asks BetterFly to give her the power that he just gave Alia, which is basically the door to other dimensions. Ladybug has experience with fusion of powers before, so she fully masters the portal teleportation, and she basically travels to these other universes to stop our Monarch on taking every other Ladybug and CatNoir's Miraculouses. Here are the multiple parallel universes. The parallel universes that we saw for a couple of seconds. And I'm gonna give you what they are. Monarch tried to go to a parallel universe. Well, Scalabella and Kitty Noir are actually a thing, protecting Paris. They just finished, but of course it's been thwarted by Ladybug, our Ladybug. He tried to go to the anime/manga universe and gets the crap beaten out of him because Ladybug's there. Oh yes, because of this, Ladybugs that actually are also Marinette also have the same power fusion. So yes, every other Ladybug knows what's going on and basically beats the crap out of Monarch. And yes, this is basically the anime/manga universe. Oh, and guess what? You wanna know what the crazy thing is? Comic book! He got into the comic book version, the comic book version of Ladybug CatNoir, and gets the shit beaten out in that dimension. And guess what? It's not a different animation media, but we also have Mr. Bug and of course Lady Noir. And of course Lady Noir this time knows what's going on and then beats the shit out of Monarch for the last time. I like it how every time, like every Adrian variant doesn't really do anything and it's just Marinette. Some sort of karma, I presume. Or maybe, like, post-foreshadowing? Because this happened in the Season 5 finale. So I don't know if this was, like, just a reference that Marinette and Gabriel will always be fighting in the end of every single timeline. Oh god. And then in the end, after all that has been resolved, the little, like, just last minute fan service. These three are now gonna go back to their home and basically defend their home against Supreme. Now, the thing is that BetterFly has not changed in the slightest throughout this whole thing, but he had a sense of hope looking at this new beautiful world, and of course seeing that Ladybug CatNoir can still be heroes. There is still a chance, and seeing the teamwork that they have, knowing that he needs a team, and he got that team now. Now of course there's Aya and the Nino in the other world, but he just needs other people that were given the power by Supreme to be on his side, because one out of what, like 9 other miraculous holders, never gonna work. It's like, I know Spider-Man like did it once, but like you think that an old man like him can actually keep up with the youngsters? Don't really think so. No offense to gabrielagreste here, it's just, yeah. Also, I would have to tell you that BetterFly does not know the identities of the other miraculous holders, but in the very beginning, as we shown later, as shown beforehand, before this place, before making the wish, both of these, both Shadybug and ClawNoir, saw each other's secret identities. It's technically by accident, but it was kind of a forced thing, because at that point, Shadybug took the miraculouses of both of them, and both hers and ClawNoir's, and tried to make the wish, as I said beforehand, like a few minutes ago. But yeah, that's basically about it, and what I really loved about this special, and the reason why I gave it a 9 out of 10. Now, there is one major flaw, and that is the pacing. Yep, it's pacing. The Miraculous is very well known of quote-unquote poor pacing. Now, I'll say this, the pacing in this special is not as bad. And I'll say this, the pacing is very similar to Season 4, which is basically the most average pacing that you can get, which makes a lot of the conflicts basically being solved a bit too fast for most people's liking in Season 4. It's technically the same here, but the thing is that the writing, even though the pacing seems a bit fast, the writing already makes it up for it. The writing, again, makes up for it. It is very good on how the writers characterize these characters, especially the alternate versions. And of course, how the interaction with our heroes and their mirror selves go. BetterFly basically has a better motivation than our HawkMoth. And that actually makes things a bit more worse, to be honest. But yeah, that's basically the one major thing I think it is the problem with this, and it's the pacing. Now, here are the nitpicks, I think. And this is the nitpicks that a lot of people have the same way. Remember when Gabriel's wife died? In the parallel universe, he's a hero. In our universe, he's a villain. He became evil for selfish reasons that basically make no sense. He became a hero for the right reasons, but for basically the same reasons as well. He became a hero to fulfill a wish that his wife wanted, to basically make the world a better place and basically make his son happy. Now, he didn't make the son happy part. That's the unfortunate part. But he wants to basically make the world good, a perfect place in his wife's name. Because to be honest, his wife was also part of the organization of Supreme. Both of them were. But after his wife died, he didn't want to be part of that army anymore. He became a resistance member and fight for the greater good, protecting the people, because his wife actually had the same idea as well, as far as context goes. Now, with all this being said, why didn't our HawkMoth become good? It is just really unfortunate, but it was his choice, and HawkMoth decided to be an a-hole. which basically diminishes like our HawkMoth's resolvement in the season finale of 5, and of course his choices of being a villain this whole time, and his purpose in life, and of course making him the worst possible Gabriel compared to this Gabriel. Now, I don't know if this was an oversight from the creator or the writers, but this is one glaring problem that kind of makes our HawkMoth not a great villain in terms of writing and motivation. And that's kind of sad, to be honest. I think HawkMoth is like a very decent... Like, HawkMoth is a decent Saturday morning cartoon villain, the main cartoon villain that actually shows up time and time again to foil the plans, and we know his lore this time. But that being said, because of the choices he could make, kind of downplays our HawkMoth, to be honest. Now this is just a nitpick, but the deeper you go, the more it kind of falls off, honestly. But that's just me, and most people in the community. Some people don't really believe that. And hey, I don't want to believe that either, so there's that. There is also one other problem, and it's not just the pacing, or that Gabriel just chose the wrong path. It's ClawNoir specifically. ClawNoir actually has a very good reason on why he is the way he is. Unfortunately, this also goes with the same problem with Gabriel. If Supreme never actually had his way with ClawNoir, would he still be the same? Because the thing is, same backstory, and that's kind of about it. The only thing is that the father is different. So it might be a different leading way from there. And Supreme is also a factor. Kind of mean that ClawNoir really didn't have that much of a role in his own life, which is kind of sad, but also meaning that the illusion of choice that he had, which he did have, and we know Adrian's base personality, he was always been a good egg. So what the hell happened? Was it really Chloe's influence that actually made him this way? Or is it the influence of destruction power? Is it the same influence that Shigaraki and Awful One had? Who knows at this point? And that kind of downplays it, because this whole time, ClawNoir seems to be just a copy of another character, at least in my eyes. This ClawNoir is the most similar to Shigaraki, early Shigaraki, the one who's just chaos for the sake of chaos, not for I want to destroy everything. It's not like Chat Blanc. Still a good episode though. But yeah, that's the only thing. My nitpick for this one, and it is just a nitpick, is that this ClawNoir just seems a bit like Shigaraki in terms of base character level. Now, their characters are vastly different, don't get me wrong, but the inspiration and the backstory kind of seems very similar. Both characters were basically been found at the wrong time in their own lives. Their parental figures really didn't have that good way of actually showing that they actually cared in a certain way, if you would say. But of course, the way it's been written is different. But it's just me. I do think that ClawNoir could have used maybe a better defining moment in his life, besides his dad not being there, besides Supreme being there. There has to be at least one decision that actually choose to make him this way. And it can't be Chloe. I mean, Chloe's influence is bad, but like, I don't think it's enough to be this bad. Adrian's always been a good egg, so what the hell? But overall, that is it for the special. I know it's a long review, but most reviews that I know are basically half this long. And not only that, they're basically like also an hour. So we're not that close to an hour yet. That's basically it. and this is why I think it's a 9 out of 10. It is a bit sloppy, but I'm trying not to go too in deep with this special. I would like to, but a lot of people already beat me to the punch, so if you really want a deep dive, just watch somebody else's review of this one, because everything that I want to say already has been said, and I don't want to be the person to repeat stuff over and over again. Nobody has reviewed all the episodes of Season 5, so that's why I did it. But everybody did the special, so I don't really have much to say except what I loved and kinda hate, but also my nitpicks of the special. Oh, also, if you're wondering about like the thing if Shadybug and ClawNoir were in love, no. One thing, they never knew their secret identities. They never had. Even when their secret identities are revealed, Marinette never loved Adrien. Adrien, however, loved Marinette, but only by her looks. He thinks that she's pretty, and it was the only one-time thing. Also, she's a good baker, and he still loves croissants. Marinette in every single world knows how to bake. That's good to know, honestly. Good on him. Will these two ever be in love? Like, will these alternate versions be in love? Who knows? Time can only tell for them. But yeah, that's the interesting thing. And I found it very interesting that this one is that Marinette found no love. But this makes sense because Marinette, throughout her whole life in this alternate dimension, never had anybody to lean on. Nobody cared about her. She never experienced love. She never experienced to be loved. I don't know why I left out a word. Oh yeah, also, apparently the Clawmies are like Bill Cipher. They're omnipresent. Take that for what you will. Clawmies are omnipresent. A very weird thing to know. Does this also mean they feel the same pain? If that's the case, oh no.